Okay, so I have returned. This is the final video, I promise. The loaves have been sitting here all day long. So here they are, and I'm going to show you, Bama's barking. I'm going to show you how to cut into one of these loaves the proper way. So you'll need a cutting board or a surface that you can cut on. Right here. Oops. And I think we'll start with the one that we used the scissors to cut that pretty top in. So you don't cut this way. You turn your loaf on its side and you use this as your cutting edge, a serrated knife. This one I've had in the family. It was gifted to me. I've had it for 100 years and I need to put it in the dishwasher. So I'm going to use a different knife today for aesthetic purposes. This is just a Jamie Oliver serrated knife. You want something with a serration because it kind of helps the sawing motion that you might need in some bread. But anyway, we're going to cut through the crust. We're getting into the nice soft center and now out to the other side. And it decided to bounce. But that's the interior of our bread. And as you can see, it has cooled. It's perfect. You can see some of the little flax seeds in there, I think. It has a nice crust. And the interior, I'll cut it this way so that you can see. And always be careful when you're using a sharp knife. And it will just kind of flake apart, as you can see, I think. It's got where we rolled it up. You can see those little areas that tend to hold butter really well throughout. And it's very soft and springy. It smells delicious. I wish I could offer you a piece, but I hope you will try to make bread. I don't want you to be too disappointed and feel defeated by, you know, an upper body issue that might make you feel that you can't do this. But there is just such a lovely feeling about having a loaf of homemade bread, and it makes a fabulous gift. You know, if you have a friend that you want to do something nice for. The other thing I wanted to talk about earlier and didn't get around to doing that is if you have some herbs in your kitchen, even if they're just dried from the grocery store in a bottle, fresh herbs are absolutely fabulous mixed into this. And what I usually do if I'm using a dried or even a fresh herb is I will put, like we did earlier, we had the sugar and our flour. We had all of our dry ingredients in that bowl, and that is when I mix in the herbs that I want to use, like rosemary. You can use rosemary and thyme. You can just kind of experiment with whatever your favorites are. Keeping in mind, of course, that some herbs are hard, like a seed. Let me see if I can find mine real quick to talk about that. Well, see, here's a rosemary, and it is a hard little, like a pod almost. I have to open this. It's been sitting there unopened, unopened. But as you can see, the rosemary it's hard, and it will kind of react in your mouth and in your bread like a seed. So if you have someone who isn't able to have that type of texture, then I would consider using something that is ground up and softer. And you know, you can actually use like a garlic powder. You can just experiment and have all sorts of flavors going. Sage is really good. If you know what Thanksgiving dressing tastes like, you can make your bread taste like that. And then it becomes so lovely as like a side dish with a little dipping bowl of a special olive oil. You can just break off a piece and dip it. It's fantastic. So do experiment and work on trying to overcome your fear of kneading. And again, like I think I mentioned in a previous video this morning, you can use a dough hook on a KitchenAid. And I can try to do a video showing you how to do that as well at some point. And then there's my loaves, carefully stored in a 2-gallon zipper bag. And I won't have it come apart because the bag is closed. I think I mentioned earlier that it's kind of like fingernails on a chalkboard to me. But anyway, have a good evening. Let me hear from you if you have questions. I am going to try to make this a succinct description. I noticed I was listening to the videos all through today, and there's some parts where they got cut off because my phone died and there were other things that kind of happened. And I'll try to do a clarification of some of those things. I misspoke a couple of times. I think I said a slice of bread when I meant a loaf of bread, little things like that. But don't hesitate to ask me, please, if you've got a question. If your bread doesn't turn out the way you thought it would, let me know what happened and maybe I can help you figure that out. But you should not feel like you can't do it, because you can. And you will enjoy it, your family will enjoy it, and your friends will enjoy it. And of course, the feeling of joy that comes from doing something like this is irreplaceable. So have a good night. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. I would appreciate it. And thank you again. And Bam Bam says goodbye as well.